Hello, I'm Big Dave, and in today's video I'll be showing you how to build a sugarcane farm in Minecraft. I'll be showing you 3 different sugarcane farms: a manual farm, an automatic farm, and an automatic bone meal farm. I will need to add, however, that while the manual farm works in all editions of Minecraft, the more complex automatic farm and the bone meal farm do not work in Java. I'll put the timestamps for each of these on the screen now, but without further ado, let's get into it. Before we start, I want to address a common myth to do with sugarcane, and that is that you can only grow sugarcane on sand, or that the actual block out of these 6 that it is grown on actually makes any difference. Not only can you grow sugarcane on all of these blocks, your podzol, your dirt, it really doesn't make any difference whatsoever which block it's on. Whichever's easiest to get will be the best for you. As long as that block is next to water, it can be flowing water or it can be a water source depending on what you want, it will grow your sugarcane. And by increasing the random tick speed, I'll show you exactly what I'm on about. So as you can see, it really doesn't make a difference what block you're using. As long as it's one of these 6, it will grow the same speed. Whatever block is easiest to get, which usually will be the dirt, so you don't have to go out and find loads of sand to make your sugarcane farm. The manual farm is by far the simplest of all the farms, but it is the easiest to build and requires the least resources, and it's brilliant for starting out, especially if you've not been to the nether yet, because all the other designs do require materials from the nether, such as quartz. As you can see, this manual sugarcane farm is much bigger, and a good part about this farm is that it is really easy to change the size of this. If you need a much bigger farm, if you need a lot more sugarcane, you can make it bigger, whereas if you don't need as much, again, it's just as easy to make it smaller, depending on how much you need. This farm will get you 3.5 stacks of sugarcane, which is quite a lot, whether you're using it for paper or you just really like cake. It's really good. You get a lot of sugarcane from probably a lot smaller area than you are with the other farms, and a lot less resources. Speaking of resources, these are the materials you'll need to build an 8x8 version of the manual sugarcane farm. You will need 32 sugarcane, 32 of any of these blocks, 32 slabs of any kind, a few torches, around a stack of building blocks of your choice, and a few buckets of water. Now before you start, I recommend making an infinite water source. To do this, it's really easy. You just need to dig a hole and fill with at least 3 buckets. This way, no matter what source you take, it will refill, and therefore you have your infinite water source. The first thing you need to do is mark out the area that will surround your sugarcane farm. Then what you need to do is make a checkered pattern of whatever block you're using to grow your sugarcane on. Once that is complete, fill all the holes with water. Once that is done, you want to fill all the water source blocks with your slabs. It really does not make any difference what slabs you use, as long as there is still water under here. So for example, if I break this block still counts as a water source. This means you can grow your sugarcane next to it, even though it looks like a full block. Instead of slabs, you could use trapdoors or lily pads if that is what you want. They work very similarly. You can walk across them fine, no interruptions. But the reason I chose slabs, and I recommend slabs really, is because you can put torches on them and you can light up your whole farm and stop any creepers spawning and blowing it up. That brings us on nicely to our next step, which is lighting it up. I recommend having your torches one diagonal away, because any more and it's going to be too dark, any closer and you're just going to have torches everywhere, which is too much, and no one wants torches everywhere. If it is a small farm, you could probably get away with just lighting up the edges, but if it is a big farm, you're going to need these torches in. Your final step is to add your sugarcane, and then your farm is completely ready to go. Now on to our automatic sugarcane farm. Now you may notice there are 2 different designs here, one much more expensive and complicated than the other, and I'll show you in a minute why that is. So if we head over to the one I made earlier, you will actually see I have both separate designs built here, the bottom two layers being the more complicated one and the top one being much more simple. And the reason I have put both designs in here for you is to show what they do. Now, if you watch here, the top more simple design, if a sugarcane grows, it fires all of them at the same time. And you may think, oh, that's great, your sugarcane fires earlier, you get more. But let me explain how sugarcane works. You see, when you plant your sugarcane, it is at stage 0. And in random intervals over time, this goes up from 0 to 15. As soon as it gets up to 15, it will grow. Now, you may be wondering how this has any relevance whatsoever. But let's say this is at stage 14 of 15. This one is at stage 2 and this one is at stage 10. If this one were to grow, all of these have been reset back down to 0. And that is an issue because over time, if I go down to my second example, because over time, if this one is at stage 15 and it grows and gets cut down, these other two also are at higher levels than they would be than this one, which is now at stage 0. So it will take longer for this to grow up another than it will for this one to grow again. And if we look at this example, that now means that instead of being at stage 14 of 15, it is now at stage 0 of 15. So it has to take that whole process again, which on average takes 18 minutes. So it is a significant difference between the two of them. The only problem is that it is a lot more expensive. As you can see here, all you need is redstone dust along with your observers and pistons, whereas here you need extra pistons, you need slime blocks, redstone blocks, you need repeaters, redstone torches. So it really is a lot more expensive, but it is better and it does get you more sugarcane. The resources you will need to build a module of this are one of the blocks that sugarcane can grow on, a piece of sugarcane, an observer, a piston, a few building blocks of your choice, a water bucket, and a single piece of redstone. So to build one of these modules, you will need to make an area where your sugarcane and water will go. So you just place the water here and the sand here, and that is where your sugarcane is going to go. Then above the water, you want to place a block, you want to place a piston, which will cut down your sugarcane, and an observer. And this will detect when the sugarcane gets to height 3. Sugarcane cannot actually grow above height 3. 3 is the maximum, so this is as big as you can build this. Finally, you want to put a block on the back here and a piece of redstone. And this means that when the observer detects the sugarcane growing, it will send a redstone pulse out into this block which fires the piston. All you need to do to make this bigger, to extend it out, is just break these blocks here, put your sand or whatever block you're using, just corner it off so you're not getting all the water, cover them, put your pistons, put your observers down and just do the exact same thing, and then place your sugarcane in, and whenever this grows they all fire. Now the materials you'll need from the more complicated design are the same as the original, minus the redstone, but add a repeater, a sticky piston, a block of redstone, and a redstone torch. Now to build this, you want to do the same as you did at the start of the last one, all up until the point where you place in the redstone. As you can see, the front of this is exactly the same as the front of this, and the place where it differs is obviously the redstone. Now instead of having redstone dust here with a block, what you want to do instead is put a block here, one block lower, and put a repeater on top. Now this will send the signal directly into your piston. You also want your redstone torch here and a sticky piston coming off of that. With your redstone block underneath, that means when this fires, the torch will turn off, which then deactivates the piston, pulling the redstone block up, firing this piston. The third and final farm is the automatic bone meal farm. And the way this works is if I get some bone meal, you just input your bone meal into this dispenser here, pull this lever, and away it goes. And all the sugarcane gets collected here. I will touch on the collection systems I have here at the end of the video, so stick around if you are interested in that. And once this is finished, I'll show you how much this gets. One bone meal gets around 2 sugarcane, which is quite good. It's as efficient as you can get. As you can see, it's all coming through here, and we've just got a little clock here just ticking away at the dispenser. So as you can see, it actually stops firing completely when the bone meal runs out. And yep, so we had a stack of bone meal there, and we get 2 stacks of sugarcane. Now for our final farm, the automatic bone meal farm, the resources you will need to build this one are 3 redstone dust, around half a stack of any building block of your choice, an observer, a regular piston, a dispenser, a wall of any kind, 3 pieces of glass, a lever, 2 repeaters, a comparator, your block you will grow the sugarcane on, your actual sugarcane, 3 trapdoors, and finally your bone meal. So the first step here is just to build up your observer piston system, exactly as the other designs, no change whatsoever. The only difference will come later on with the dispenser. That's wrong. There we are. So you just got piston on top, observer here, smooth stone, redstone, exactly the same, and your sugarcane here. So for your dispenser system, you want to obviously put your dispenser directly next to your sugarcane here, and then build off from the back to make the system which will turn it on. You want your lever here. You want a comparator coming out, turned on. You want your redstone, 2 blocks here, 3 blocks, 2 repeaters, redstone dust, and there you have your circuit. So if you will see, if I turn this on, the pulse keeps going round like so. Now you can leave it like that, but if you're wanting to make this more practical, you could add some trapdoors here, and that makes sure, and some glass, it makes sure that you're not actually going to lose any sugarcane. And that if you are going to have a collection system underneath, it is all going to be collected from this block here. Because if you watch, if I turn this on, the trapdoor closes, you cannot access it, and then you open and you can. You also want to replace this block here with a wall so that you can access your dropper from here, and you don't have to go all the way around to input your bone meal. So you can input it from the front, you can have all this redstone tucked away, you can input your bone meal, and you're sorted. You don't have to go anywhere, you can just wait for all this to go. You could stand here and collect all the sugarcane if you don't want to build a system to collect it, but I recommend it because if you've got, say, a few of these going and this is connected to a few different sugarcane dispensers, then you all want it to go to the same place. Now I'll briefly just go over the collection systems I have here. This one is just a simple hopper minecart going back and forth. The way for this to work is these rails need to be powered for it to actually bounce off the wall. I've only got 3 here, which is all you need. What you don't want is for, while you're powering this rail here, is for this hopper to be powered, because if this hopper's powered, no items are going to pass through it. They're all going to stay in there. So this needs to be powering the rail but not powering the hopper. I've done that by powering this block, which is not actually connected to the hopper. If you were to power the block it was on here, you'd actually be powering the hopper, locking it in place, and you will not be actually getting any of this row at all. The same goes for these 2 rows up here. The way you can actually put your sand on top, because obviously it's a gravity affected block, it falls all the way down. First of all, to get rid of that problem, you can just use dirt, or if you do want to use sand, if you place your rails in place before you put your hopper minecart on, if you crouch, and if I just show you, if you crouch you can actually place sand on top of the rails. This is all connected to a simple hopper row down here, collecting all your sugarcane in here. Now to actually direct your hoppers, you've got to crouch and actually place them onto the way you want to go. So if I want a hopper going down, I've crouched and placed it on that block. If I want a hopper going into this hopper, you place it there, and you can actually see which direction it's going. As you can see here, both these hoppers are heading this way, and all these hoppers are going straight down to the one below. Now for the collection system here, I've used a hopper going into the chest and a hopper minecart above it, and hopper minecarts, unlike hoppers, can actually pick up items a block above them. If I were to put a hopper here and place a block on top, the hopper would not pick up that block. If I were to place a rail, a block and a hopper minecart, if I were to throw anything on top, it gets picked up by the hopper. That's why you cannot just have some hoppers underneath your sugarcane. You need your hopper minecart. And that is all 3 sugarcane farms done. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you learned something. If you did, give it a like and subscribe for more content like this. I have been Big Dave. I'll see you in the next one.